For the last month and a half, I've been trying to clean up some loose ends on the front end of the truck. I'll walk you through what I've done here bit by bit. So last year I just had the top of the hood just sitting on there. I think I had Clecos attaching it or something to the cowl. So next step was to build a hood hinge, and I wanted it to be a front pivot. I looked online, I couldn't find anything useful there. Some people had cobbled together something themselves and it looked pretty crude. I wanted something a little more refined. So I thought back to my school days kinematics class. So this is what's called a basic 4-link linkage. So this is 1 link here, 2 links, 3 links, 4 links. So this base link represents, say, the chassis. I put this rib out here. That represents the top of the fender, and the front is the where the grille mounts. And then this link up here would be the hood itself. So I wanted it to lift up as it pivoted, and that's really what this 4-link does. So it spent 15-20 minutes monkeying around, fine-tuning link lengths and pivot points. It didn't take long. I'd rather do that than spend time on a computer trying to model it, but this is kind of what it does here, right? So it does just what I want it to. So with this model, I was able to just take measurements off it and then scale it to fit the actual front of the truck. So here's what I've done to make it work. The mounts themselves, they're kind of multi-purpose. So I wanted to use the hinge mount to also provide a mount for the struts down to the front wing. And also to mount the grill off, so they're serving multiple purposes. You can see, so this is link 1, link 2, link 3, and then of course the 4th link is the hood itself. So I'm trying to keep the weight down. I've just made this spacer bar out of just thin wall chromoly tubing, and then the arms themselves, they don't see a lot of stress or anything. The 2 sides of the 4 links are connected with this chromoly tube here, and it just pivots, so the whole thing just moves like that. So anyway, that's the hood mount. Looks a little funky, but everything seemed to work all right. Took a little bit of fine tuning to get it lined up just perfect, but it's all good now. So I knew I wanted to mount the front wing as solid as possible to the frame, so I made these flanged inserts up, just turned them on the lathe. They're chromoly, they got a 1/2-inch fine thread in them, so I just bored a hole in the wall, the frame tube, and then I'm TIG welding them on. I'll finish welding them out when I get the chassis off the build table. But that's what the front wing is mounting to, those 4 points. For the structure, the subframe to actually hold the wing itself. So this is what I came up with for a mount for the front wing. There's a little bit of trial and error, even though it's fairly beefy stock it's made out of. It did still have some flex to it, and I had to add some reinforcing ribs underneath here. So this is 3/8 thick mild steel here. Problem is the wing sits out like another foot in front of this, and there's just so much leverage on it. If I had to do it again, I probably would have put the upper mount a little further up this this frame member here, because there's a bit of a dog leg that I had to put in the strut here to clear the there's a rad going up front here for the cool off the intercoolers, water to air intercoolers, and so I had to make clearance for the rad, and that's what these mounts are for here. It's for that little radiator, and then this piece here, it's really just it's probably overkill, but it's a mount for a front tow hook. The race cars require to have a front tow hook, CCA and FIA rules. So that'll the tow hook will slide in through the front grille and then bolt to this, And then these bolt holes here, again, you know, with the front grille on here, you need to find a way to attach the clevis mounts for the front wing onto this this subframe here. So that's what these holes are for here. There's a couple of bolts go through there. So it's all pretty beefy. Does have a small, tiny bit of flex to it right now under load, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. So it's the mount for the grill up front, and it just ties into the mount for the hood hinges there. It's really beefy. And then the radiator is actually from a 1990s Honda Civic. So that's the rad for the water to air intercooler. So I got to change the fittings on here while the new neck on it, but everything fits in there. And then down front, you can see these bolt on. So these clevises are for the lower linkage for the mounting the front wing. So that's what it all looks like. So I wound up having to take about 10 inches off the bottom of the front grille, unfortunately for ground clearance. It bothers me to have to cut up some parts like this. These grills are not easy to come by. This grill is actually, you know, they're 1 year only for the 38s. This grill is actually off of a 38 car, and it's not a perfect fit on the truck sheet metal, but it's not bad. So we've got a little bit of fine tuning to do still to get the gaps right, but you can see kind of the lines kind of still flow reasonably well. So I'm going to still mount headlights off of this area here, so you won't see everything that's in there. But, it's coming along. These are some of the parts I made to mount the front wing. The black parts are all made out of thin wall chromoly tubing, painted with steel paint. You know, the bunch of the rod ends are stainless, and these are stainless here as well. And tried to distribute the load. I'll show you what I did for mounts there in a few minutes, but made all these spacers up. What else? I was concerned about torsional rigidity. I wasn't sure if I was going to have to tie these two frames together or not. But I beefed up the main mount onto the chassis behind the grill, and that seemed to take care of most of the problems with flex. You know, I didn't want the front wing so that it was kind of rattling down the road, going up and down, side to side, but I think it's going to be just fine. There's the wing installed. Made a minor addition here. I bonded this washer on here, and it's sandwiched, supported from beneath as well, and then all bonded in there to give it strength. I figured, you know, the front end with all the struts and everything, it's not as rigid as the carbon fiber nose cone on an Indycar would have been. So I figured it needed a little extra reinforcement, but everything seems pretty solid. It's got a little bit of give to it, not much. You can sit on the wing in pretty much any point, no problem at all. So yeah. Anyway, that's what it looks like.